Hey everybody, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm a landscape company that does a lot of other stuff. We're going to be going to, it's like a town away, we're going into a house that's like, I believe it's an 1884 home. It's something I've been probably working on for over 25 years. Today we got to go down, the insurance company looked at it. She changed insurance companies and the insurance company wants a bunch of stuff done. We got to do foundation drains. It's an old I believe it's 1884 home. Rock foundation, and it's got some water coming in off the back side of it. A lot of it's to do with the land behind this house has been changed quite a bit over the last 5 or 10 years. I don't know if that's why they're getting more water. I also looked at it and the land got filled, I think just leaves. It's a rental, 4-unit rental home. Has been for years. It was an original mill house, so it was never like a single family home. It's all, I believe it's always been 2 or 3 units, and now it's 4. But we got to go down. The insurance company wants the foundation drains put in to get in a French drain on one part of the backyard. We're going to be doing that in another video, but the weather's kind of crappy. I think it's a good week to go down, and we got to put sump pumps in the basement where I got to cut concrete, put the pumps in. I'm going to re-concrete everything in. I'm going to put a legal bucket, what they call a sump bucket, in the ground. So we'll see what that's going to take to do that, get the sump pumps put in, hooked up to the drainage. They also want it hooked up to the drainage of the home, not just out a window, which is what a lot of New England houses have, just to get rid of the water. But I also don't think it's a good idea the way the landscape is around this house. I think you're better off just hooking it up so it goes away. And it's not something that's wet all the time. It gets wet. I know the house pretty well. It only gets wet probably every 4 or 5 years if you have a real bad winter and things melt and go into that rock foundation. Over the years, you can see where people have tried blocking the holes. A lot of it's to do with, there's a couple cellar windows back, I'm going to guess sometime in the 70s, because it was brickwork that was done to put them in. I think it was done probably just to let better lighting down there, or maybe even put coal in the basement. But their windows are all, they've been backfilled. Someone put, I think, a mixture of pressure treated and whatever there and backfilled it. I'm going to dig that out, put cellar basement windows back in, but that will be another video. Today we're just doing the sump pumps. I thought it'd be a cool video, so we're going to, I figured I'd do an intro this morning before we headed that way. This is the job we're going to be starting today. Believe it or not, that's an old outhouse that's off this 1800s house. It's been blocked off inside. Renewing their insurance, and the insurance wants that taken off. And this little cavity of the house here has got a lot of water going into the rock foundation. It's going to be a few weeks before we can start doing the excavation work. There are, believe it or not, this has been filled in over the years because no one's ever paid attention, but there's cellar windows that got put in quite a few, I'm going to guess back in maybe the 70s, that are underneath, that someone boarded up with pressure treated and it's rotted through. But the water is basically funneling off all these roof lines and coming down and going into that basement pretty bad. But on top of that, the insurance company wants to put in 2 sump pumps. So that's where we're going to start, is in the basement where the weather's this way. I'm hoping the weather breaks and we can get in here and do the excavation work. But part 1, this will be part 2 of the video. Part 1's going to be inside. I'm in the basement, and these holes got busted in at one time to let water out that comes in the spring. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be putting in a real catch basin and sump pump, and probably making it go into the pipe. There's plenty of piping down here. There's a few holes I'll show. That one there, I think we're just going to leave a hole. I think I'm going to put the other sump pump over here. Someone started the project and never got far enough. But I'm actually going to put they make a fiberglass catch basin to put these sump pumps in. But we'll get to it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to cut that with a masonry blade and make a nice square. I'm going to do a 24-inch by 24-inch hole. Drop I believe the buckets I'm getting at 18 inches around, and I'm going to mortar 2 of those so that the water goes in. I'm also going to try to clean up in here a little bit so no crap gets down in that bucket. I want to show, I cut that somewhat square. Up near the wall gets pretty thin. I think it will break out. I'm going to use that Makita hammer drill. And I think that will come right out fairly easy. It's going to be hard digging though because there's a lot of rocks, and I cut it with a Milwaukee skill saw with a Makita blade. I find those masonry blades that Makita has are probably the best. I believe it was $34, but that will cut everything I got to cut in this basement. And the only thing that hurts those is if you hit rebar or something. But if you're just cutting concrete like this, it will stay pretty sharp for a long time. I also find the ones with the big cuts in them like that work better. But I just figured I'd take a shot at this point and we'll bust that out. I just want to show this is breaking up fairly easy with this tool. I am wearing a mask. I'm going to guess this was probably done back 60s, 70s. Other than that, this was a dirt floor. You can tell they came down here and just poured this when they felt like it. And this stuff here goes from anywhere from 3 or 4 inches thick to 1 inch. But I think they just did it when they started putting modern furnaces and stuff like that in. I know this house a little bit. I do know originally, I can remember when there was a coal furnace in this basement. I want to take a quick shot and show you how there's all potato-sized rocks. It's just going to be a little bit of work to get that dug out. Like I said, I'm dropping a regular sump pump bucket in there. They're made out of fiberglass, I think like 24 inches deep. And then I got to clean up around this, and I'm going to mortar that, or cement. I'm going to probably use sand mixed concrete and get it so the water runs in that fairly clean. These old rock foundations, like I said, I'm going to try to clean this up so none of this stuff ends up clogging up that pump when I put it in. So I got to do one on this. This is the low side of the basement. I set up a little laser level. This side of the basement is probably 6 inches lower than the other side, and I'll show you. Someone did an old the old rock foundation, and then they put brick up top to support the house years ago. But these are old basement windows. Let me get a light. These are old basement windows that got plugged up years ago, and that's where most of this water's coming in, because the dirt on the outside that we got to excavate out is higher than those windows right there by probably 6 or 8 inches. So we're going to be doing a pretty good excavation job out there once the weather breaks. But I just figured I'd start in here. We've had a mild winter, and this is stuff I can do. So we'll start here and get the pumps put in. And the insurance company wants these pumps put in anyways, even if we're going to fix the problem outside. Where I'm putting this sump pump hole, I just want to show this is why that water don't drain. That's almost like when I say clay, it's like almost like concrete. So that's why the water doesn't drain out of here well. Reality is we're going to hook it up so it pumps out. I think there's a gray water system on this house from the way back when. I'm going to see if I can hook it so that it goes in that. But it's got to get pumped out of it. I mean, that's why it's never drained out of here. I got down probably 8 or 10 inches through this nasty rocky stuff, and then pretty much it's like I'm gonna have to break that up. I gotta go down about another 6 inches just to get the bucket in, but I just figured I'd take a shot. It's obvious why this doesn't drain well. I'm just taking a peek. Some big rocks coming out of this one. That first foot's got a lot of big rock in it. I've already taken out quite a few 5-gallon buckets of stuff out of both these holes, but then you get down and it's almost like a cement type clay. But I just figured I'd take a shot where we're at this point. I just want to show I've got one of the sump pump buckets in the ground. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sand mix concrete around that. I put stone in the bottom and a couple bricks to put the pump on, because there's a good chance you're going to get some silt type dirt in there. This is what they look like. It's basically a 22-gallon sump tank. This one here is going in over here. Got the hole dug, so we're going to dig that a little more, get it to fit in there, and then we'll be mortaring them in. I just wanted to show the point where we're at. This sump pump someone else had already had sitting here, but I'm gonna plumb it a little bit different. We'll get back to it. I just want to show we got a sand mix ready to go, and I'm gonna cement those in so the water drains into them. The one over here we got ready, filled with stone in the bottom, and I'm gonna put a couple bricks to set the pump on, but we're gonna try to, it's gonna roll into those a little bit so the water goes in them. And then I tried cleaning up around them enough so I know you're gonna get some fines when the water comes in this basement, so that's why the stone's in the bottom. Probably every few years you'll have to shovel that stone out, but the pump's going to be up high enough. I've done these. I haven't done one for quite a few years, but when I did these, I've done quite a few over the years, and you end up with the bottom of the barrel getting like a silk type material in it. So after that, I just started filling the first 6 inches with stone, and then I'll put a couple bricks in there and then set the pump on that so that it stays clean for quite a while. That's pretty much finished product. I just gave it like a broom finish, but the water will all go into that. I'm gonna go do the other side. We're just gonna show that other hole. I got the stone in it. I got it cemented in, and I just did a broom finish. I'm gonna let that dry tonight. Tomorrow I'm gonna come and I'm gonna brush around that with some Thompson's water seal. Probably like 1.5 feet around that bucket, and then we'll get the pumps installed. But I just thought it'd be kind of a cool video. These old houses, what you got to go through sometimes. But I have found it's going to be fairly easy to hook them into the plumbing. There's electrical pretty close, so kind of on a good source, so it's not going to get overloaded if the pump's running for a while. So this sump pump's in and all hooked up. There was a nice wire and power source right above this conditioner, so that worked out good. I checked the amperage, it's fine. I kicked it on a couple times, everything seems to be working. I don't think this is going to be a year where this basement gets wet, because the snow's almost gone. And I've only done a little bit of dampness down here, but we're going to get going on the other side. This pump here was something someone had down here. So I'm trying to make it does work. I plugged it in, everything works. We got the second pump in, it's all hooked up. We got one of these hot water heaters leaking, so we just drained one of them into this to make. I tested both pumps; they're working. I just wanted to make sure nothing would leak, but found a power source for both of them that seems to be pretty good for the amperage it is pulling. But I just figured that'd be a cool video. Some of the other stuff we do, I don't say no to much. I've said that many a times.